Good day. My name is Sweet Potato. My username is Sweet Potato. My name is Jamil T. McKinney. And I'll be honest with you. I've always been very perceptive of the world around me. I've always made my decisions. I've always based my decisions off of facts, off of reasoning, off of actual proof, evidence, real stuff. I don't like to make decisions or even actions without carefully considering them. And though I am admittedly very impatient and hot-headed at times, that's not just to blame because of my perceived intelligence. I've suffered a lot of emotional trauma because of my perceptiveness of the world around me, and a lot of it has caused me intense sadness. It's caused me intense pain. It has caused me immense anger to the point where I've wanted to take it out, or I've wanted to let it flow through me, dictate my actions. I've wanted to let it control me just so I can alleviate it from myself, because I don't know what else to do. Or I haven't known what else to do. I've felt that anger before, but these riots have to stop. I'm going to be completely honest with you. They have to stop. Because they don't make any sense. Throughout my life, I've done whatever I could to be a good motivation, to be a good influence, to be an inspiration to those around me, to spread love, to alleviate hatred. I've fought with injustice. I've been oppressed. I've been racially profiled in so many aspects of my life that you'd think that I would have been blinded, but no, you wouldn't think that I'd have been blinded. You think that I'd be more biased than I am, but I'm not gonna smooth around this. I'm not going to just let it be. The fact is, nobody who says Black Lives Matter should be rioting. They should not go out with the intention of hurting or scaring anyone or anything. In the protests that I go to, I lead the chants. I make my voice heard. I scream, and I am a bass 2 in my chamber choir, so I know how to make myself loud. Okay, a singer knows how to be loud. I give my voice, I give my time, I give my energy, and I give a lot of signage in my house. A lot of the boards that I find to the cause of peaceful protesting for the rights of others. Since I was 7 years old, I've had to deal with watching people be judged, be sentenced, be killed just because they happen to be black. One of my earliest memories is watching an 18-year-old black man be killed within weeks for homicide. The 17-year-old was given 40 years. 40 years for homicide of one person. What is the average sentence for homicide in America? What has been the average sentence for homicide in America for, let's say, a decade, if not longer? 16 and a half years. 17 years, and this young 18-year-old black man got killed. That was one of the earliest memories I had, and that was when I was 7 years old. I decided to do more research, and when I went way too far. I knew a lot of things that I shouldn't have about this world, and it caused me a lot of pain growing up. It caused me to strive for more, to strive to be the motivation that I do now. Because of the hate that I face, the racial prejudice, the profiling, and to some extent, just being called a disgrace to society. Yeah, I know words hurt and such, or they're not supposed to hurt, but it does, especially when you try each and every single day to better yourself. I know my pet peeves, I know my weaknesses, and I know that because I explore myself, because I do my best to learn more about myself so I can improve myself as a man. And that is why I will never, ever condone rioting. The Black Lives Matter movement, it stands to assist in promoting equality and opportunity. It stands to helping those who may be thrown into jail for no reason or profiled beyond reasonability stay out of those situations. Black men in America and black women alike have always just been used for sports, to win America medals, to entertain them with their comedy or their singing or their basketball, all that good stuff, and to fill up their prisons. Their sentences have always been harsher. Oh man, I can't even. It makes me cringe when I think of a church shooter who was sentenced to death after killing over 20 people, being alive 2 years later. And still to this day, when I think of that 18-year-old who was murdered within weeks, his parents barely even got time to assess the whole situation. I get angry when I think of the hundreds of young black men that have been tried as adults, when any other race only gets, let's say, 20 a year at most. It makes me angry. It makes me mad. It makes me sad. And there have been so many instances of me just not wanting to get up in the morning because even as a young child, I believed that the simplest mistake could ruin my entire life. And I know that reality is still a thing, especially now that I'm older and more and can be taken and can take more responsibility for my actions. I know that if I mess up, my entire dream of being that inspiration, of being a veteran, of being a nurse, of being a surgeon, of being a minister, all of those things will fly out the window. But that does not mean that I'm going to go out and hurt people. That's not what we stand for. We want everyone to prosper. We want everyone to thrive. And no, that is not communism. I have had to suffer a lot because of the evil in people's hearts. Just because I just so happen to be born black. And I know a lot of other people have too. And I understand why people would be mad. But it's stupid. In my opinion, no, this is a fact. If you're trying to scare a positive message into somebody's heads, that is not activism. That is tyranny. And it should indeed be punished. Because a lot of those people are just using civil unrest to cause mischief, to cause ruckus. They're using the Black Lives Matter movement as an excuse to hurt people and ruin other people's lives. That's not what we do. That's what the justice system does. That's why we're fighting them. That's why we're not trying to deal with this crap anymore. The police force may be out there murdering thousands of people and barely facing any repercussions for it, but that does not mean that we should go out and try to say, hey, let's burn this thing to the ground. A child not embraced by the civilization will burn it to feel its warmth. I get that. But we don't have to be that way. We are better than them. I'm saying, these peaceful protests when I hear about many ignorant people who know nothing about this thing, from both sides. There are people who will argue day and night that racism is fake because they don't understand it, because they didn't look into it, because they didn't have to deal with it growing up. All the trauma that I had to face when I was young, just because I decided to do my own research. All the adults that were talking about the injustices performed throughout the United States, and they thought I wasn't listening. I was listening, and I was attributing everything that I learned. All those hundreds of black kids that were tried as adults, all those people whose lives were ruined because they got 40 years for something that should only give them 12. Heck, my family members have been in jail plenty of times, especially my uncle, and no matter what, he still remembered to write me. He still remembered that I existed, and he still proved to me that he loved me. There are a lot of black men in there who are there and will spend their whole lives there for no reason, because black men are so much more profusely likely to be wrongly convicted. 7 times. It's been consistently 7 times more likely to be wrongly convicted. Thousands of black men locked up for no reason. Do you know how mad that makes me? But when we're spreading an agenda that makes people want to fight those who are oppressing us, who the heck are we as a movement? As millions of people in several different countries. Well, I don't think that many other countries are burning things down just because of America. But who are we as a movement? We're not an organization. That stupid website literally has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. It's just made by a random unnamed coder. I don't get how something of this caliber can even be attributed to a random website that was made a few months ago, but that I can't expect everybody to have that level of common sense. So I'm gonna leave it and keep going. If we're spreading that peaceful agenda, then we can't be trying to go out there and hurt people. It doesn't make any sense. Let them incriminate themselves. Because people who support rioting tell me that riots are necessary because they bring press. Well, negative press is not good press. Not all press is good press. Yes, it spreads awareness, but so does peaceful protesting. Peaceful protesting is something that gets people on our side. We can go out, we can march, random people will see us, and they will start fighting for our cause. And then, if we're lucky, they'll actually go out and learn about it, because ignorant protesters are not very useful. I'll be honest, I'm being honest here. There are many people who are protesting who don't know what they're protesting for. They didn't have to suffer as a result of it, as a result of this froward country that's literally characterized by rampant murder, depression, and anxiety. But back to the subject. Rioting is not doing us any good. To be honest, all of our changes have been small. We've reformed a few police stations. The NYPD, they're doing a bit better. Obviously, Minneapolis's police force has been disbanded. Is it still disbanded? I don't know. But if you look at the results, the people who have been murdered in this country, shot dead, murked, capped, whatever you want to call it, by police, has not changed. Over 750 to 780 people have died, and it's only 245 days have passed. That's still 3.2 people a day. And how many people were they murdering a day last year? And the year before that? 3. So that means we have to keep fighting. We have to keep going harder. And we have to keep spreading the agenda. But if we keep trying to hurt people, trying to burn down stuff, and trying to do things by force, who's going to listen? Who's going to listen? Like I said, that's tyranny. We're trying to force our way into their heads. And if black people are the ones that are being oppressed, and Kenosha only has 7% black population, and I'll say maybe 10% of them are there, but that's besides the point. Evil comes in all colors, and so does good. But people who are inciting these riots, it takes people to make a riot. If the population is not big enough, you're not going to get a riot. All of these people are coming together to wreak havoc, man. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make any sense. See, I'm going higher for emphasis. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, excuse me. Good Lord. In a nutshell, man. In a nutshell, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This fight is one that needs to be fought. Because right now, 28% of those people who were murdered by the police are still black. That percentage hasn't changed. Can you believe that? All of this that has been going on. The media support, the spread of awareness, the protests throughout all the countries, throughout all the cities and the multiple countries, and nothing has changed. Nothing, at least concerning the police. The police are not the only goal of the Black Lives Matter movement, but it's a pretty significant part of it. And it's sad to see that hasn't changed. So we need to work harder to spread awareness and to continue pushing our agenda for peace and love. That's the thing people love to say about black people. That even though they built up this country, even though they were constantly pushed down, when they fought back with love. Malcolm X said, use violence when necessary. But what is he known for? He's known for black nationalism. He's not known for riots. Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks are the two most famous civil rights leaders that have ever lived. And, they wouldn't even be it hasn't even been 100 years yet. Not even close, but still. Let's be honest here, people. What are these riots doing? They're just giving opposition more reason to shut us down. To undermine us. The opposers are going to find any reason that they can to say awful things about us. They're going to find any reason that they can to push that we're Marxists, that we're communists, that we're evil, that we're pushing our Antifa, evil, disgusting propaganda. They're just, good Lord, I'm mocking people in the stupidest way possible. They're gonna push anything they can on us. Remember Brandon Kennett? Cannon Hennant. What the heck? How are you gonna blame us for that death? We don't want people to be murdered like animals anymore. We don't want people to be unloved. We just want to spread love. And I get that racism, even especially systemic, is a big issue. People deserve to be angry. But we can't hurt people because of it. Let them incriminate themselves. Let them shoot up thousands of people and let them take their little heinies on with their lives. Let them throw a bunch of black people in jail, let them fill up those jails, and push the agenda. Make people more aware of what's really going on in this world. Peacefully. In a way that'll actually push through to them. I'm impatient. I'm arrogant. So sometimes if I lose sight of what I'm doing and I try to prove a point to somebody, it's gonna come off as me just being a jerk. It's not going to come off as me being educational or as me being an inspiration. And if impatience can drive people away, then what do you think riots are doing? They're going to do the same thing. They're going to think that they're thinking that people are just out there causing all this havoc to push an agenda that they don't even believe in. You don't believe that Black Lives Matter if you're willing to put them in danger. Evil exists on all sides. The Black Lives Matter advocate who's willing to shoot people in the head, who talks about murdering people, who's going out there and trying to just beat people to death. They don't believe it, because the point of Black Lives Matter is to state that everybody matters. To state that our lives should be just as worth it as everybody else's. That everybody is significant and important to this world. That we're all significant parts of it. And if we're going to push that agenda, we have to prove it. That's why I've been ranting for so long. That's why it makes me mad to think that people are tarnishing our good name by going out in the streets and making people fear them. All this work, all this time, all this concentration for naught. We are hurting the Black Lives Matter movement. That's what this whole process is doing. And they're hurting Democrats too for some reason, because everybody blames Democrats for riots, but it doesn't really make sense, because riots have happened in San Diego and many other places. I mean, riots are happening everywhere. But they need to stop, okay? Nobody with any sense in their head that actually believes in the Black Lives Matter agenda is gonna do this, okay? Just because one of the first people who began protesting said that we're Marxists, that doesn't mean anything. One person doesn't govern an entire movement. Oh, you were the first. You laid a foundation. That's great. You're not a leader. You don't run anything. Don't say we. Say you. Okay? People are always trying to throw that out there as if that actually means anything. It's like, one person said this. Everybody's evil. Does that make any sense to you? No. Anybody with 2 eyes and a brain can see that. And I don't get it. I don't get why people are so adamant on making racism look like it's not a big deal. I don't get why people support anybody who's xenophobic or doesn't actually regard the human rights of other people. I don't get why there's so much hatred in this world, but so many stupid patriots who are unwilling to go out and do something about it. If you actually care about this stupid country, then fight to help it. Man, try to fight against drunk driving, against gun violence, against something. Don't just sit there and accept this place as what it is, because no matter what, heck, doesn't matter who you are, you can be killed. What if you're one of those 1,000 that gets killed every year? You're just going to be another statistic. You think anything's going to happen? No. Because you and everybody who was like you wasn't willing to do anything about it. Same thing with all these stupid rioters. They're just going to be more statistics. They have caused more harm to come to people. People have died in these things, man. We're trying to stop people from dying. I don't care if the number is 35 or 3,500. If 35 people have died in riots and protests and not all of them are the fault of either police or random citizens getting in the way, then I don't want to hear about anybody rioting anymore, okay? That crap is stupid. It's just causing people just losing money, wasting time, wasting energy that can be used to actually helping this place. And I get that people are dumb, Americans especially, but it doesn't make any sense. And I've been ranting for way too long, but that's all I had to say. That was literally the gist of my whole message. That was the gist of my whole message. This stupid rioting doesn't make any sense. What we need to do is push the agenda harder, but we don't need to be hurting people because of it. Because it's not changing anywhere near as much as it needs to. We need to do something. I don't know if that's just keep protesting. I don't know if that's is if that's more good people, people who actually care about this country and the people inside of it who don't want to see them die for no reason, or to be oppressed. I don't know if we need to send a whole bunch of them into office so that some of them can overthrow all these dumb politicians who are not doing anything about it. I don't know if that's the next step. Can we overthrow the justice system? Nah, we can't. We can't overthrow anything. What we need to do is make it into something better, okay? What, you think just because somebody has a child and messes up a little bit, if somebody makes a few mistakes in that child and they turn out to be a psychopath, you think they just throw that child in the streets and get another one? No. They help that child and support that child because they love them. And if they just so happen to get another one, that's great. They'll love them both, okay? America is the child of the people. We make this country what it is. And if right now it's a cesspool of everything that's evil, and people want to fight against it, then we gotta work. We gotta work to make it better. We can't be burning it down. What, you're gonna burn down your child now? What kind of sense does that make? Okay, you know what? If I keep myself here, I'm gonna rant forever. I'm done. I'm done, okay? Take with that message what you will. I'm done.